YOLO! I set myself a goal of reading the Bible 3 times a week, and I thought what better way to help me stay accountable than to make it part of my YouTube journey. So original, I know. Posting videos about the Bible online. No one's ever thought of that before. But I'm doing a little series now where I read the Bible, and I'm going to try and upload an episode probably once a week or once every other week on Sunday. My plan is to start with the New Testament, read through that, loop around, hit the Old Testament, and then finish off with the New Testament again. Sort of a Star Wars mentality, where you start with episodes 4, 5, and 6, or you start with the New Testament before you do the Old Testament. I prefer it that way. I think that's the best way to introduce new people to it, and that's how I would recommend it to someone else, so that's how I'm going to start the series. Just a couple things before we get started. First, I'll be reading from a King James Study Bible. I haven't set a timer for these videos, so it's kind of up in the air. I don't have like a specific number of verses I plan to read, or X number of pages, or every 30 minutes. So some episodes will be longer, some will be shorter. And then last little thing of note is I have a whole slew or alphabet soup of learning disabilities. So bear with me as I dyslexia maxing my way through the Bible. If some things get transposed, mispronounced, or just don't seem right, please always double check. But without any further ado, because I don't, let's get into the word of the Lord. Matthew 1, the book of the generations of Jesus Christ, the son of David, the son of Abraham. Abraham begat Isaac, and Isaac begat Jacob, and Jacob begat Judas and his brethren. And Judas begat Phares and Zara of Tamar, and Phares begat Esrom, and Esrom begat Aram, and Aram begat Aminadab, and Aminadab begat Naosam, and Naosam begat Salmon, and Salmon begat Boaz of Rahab, and Boaz begat Obed of Ruth, and Obed begat Jesse, and Jesse begat David the king, and David the king begat Solomon of her that had been the wife of Urias, and Solomon begat Roham, and Roham begat Abiah, and Abiah begat Asa, and Asa begat Jehoshaphat, and Jehoshaphat begat Joram, and Joram begat Ozias, and Ozias begat Johatham, and Johatham begat Achias, and Achias begat Ezekias, and Ezekias begat Manias, and Manias begat Amon, and Amon begat Josias, and Josias begat Jeconias and his brethren, about the time that they were carried away to Babylon. After they were brought to Babylon, Jeconias begat Saleth, and Saleth begat Zorobabel, and Zorobabel begat Abiad, and Abiad begat Elikim, and Elikim begat Azar, and Azar begat Sadok, and Sadok begat Achayim, and Achayim begat Eliud, and Eliud begat Ezarar, and Eleazar begat Mahattan, and Mahattan begat Jacob, and Jacob begat Joseph, the husband of Mary, of whom was born Jesus, who is called Christ. So all the generations of Abraham to David are 14 generations, and from David until the carrying away into Babylon are 14 generations, and from the carrying away into Babylon until Christ are 14 generations. Matthew 1:18. Now the birth of Jesus Christ was on the wise, when as his mother Mary was espoused to Joseph, before they came together, she was found with child of the Holy Ghost. When Joseph her husband, being a just man, and not willing to make her a public example, was minded to put her away privily. But while he thought on these things, behold, an angel of the Lord appeared unto him in a dream, saying, Joseph, thou son of David, fear not to take unto thee Mary thy wife, for that which is conceived in her is of the Holy Ghost. And thou shalt bring forth a son, and thou shalt call his name Jesus, for he shall save his people from their sins. Now all this was done that it might be fulfilled which was spoken of the Lord by the prophet, saying, Behold, a virgin shall be with child, and shall bring forth a son, and they shall call his name Emmanuel, which being interpreted is God with us. Then Joseph, being raised from sleep, did as the angel of the Lord had bidden him, and took unto him his wife, and knew her not till she had brought forth her firstborn son, and he had called his name Jesus. Okay, so that's all of Matthew 1. I'm not going to even tell you how many times I had to reread it and look up the pronunciation for some of those names, and I'm pretty sure I still butchered a bunch of them. But why do we even care? These are just a bunch of people who lived thousands of years before us. Why is it important to have their names written down? Why can't we move on like I normally do, skip this part, and start at Matthew 2? Well, the reason that this whole genealogy bit even matters in the first place is because it sets up a direct family line from Jesus all the way back up. It fulfills prophecies and shows that he's truly who he claimed to be later on, who he was foretold to be from the prophets in the Old Testament, and who God says he was. It gives this guy was the father or mother of this guy was the father or mother of this guy, from 14 generations to 14 generations to 14 generations all the way down. And then when it talks about Joseph wanting to put his wife away, or his fiancée away privily, that was basically Joseph being like, oh, I just found out that my virgin wife is pregnant. Clearly she's not a virgin. She was out there cheating on me. So instead of, bringing a bunch of shame and being like, hey, everybody, my wife's a hoe, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to very quietly go break off the engagement, and people will find out one day that we broke off our engagement. But by then, they'll assume that new kid is whoever she's with then. No problem, no harm, no foul. And then God sent an angel and was like, hey, your wife's not cheating on you. She's not a hoe. It's actually God's kid, and you're going to call him Jesus. Then he woke up and was like, all right, this is going to be God's kid. I'm going to call him Jesus. And then when it says he knew her not until after she had her first kid, that just means they didn't get jiggy with it until after Jesus was already born. Matthew 2. Now when Jesus was born in Bethlehem of Judea in the days of Herod the king, behold, there came wise men from the east to Jerusalem, saying, Where is he that is born King of the Jews? For we have seen his star in the east, and are come to worship him. When Herod the king heard these things, he was troubled, and all Jerusalem with him. And when he had gathered all the chief priests and scribes of the people together, he demanded of them where Christ should be born. And they said unto him, In Bethlehem of Judea, for thus it is written by the prophet, And thou, Bethlehem, in the land of Judea, art not the least amongst the provinces of Judea, for out of thee shall come a governor that shall rule my people Israel. Then Herod, when he had privily called the wise men, inquired of them diligently what time the star appeared, and sent them to Bethlehem, and said, Go, and search diligently for the young child, and when ye have found him, bring me word again, that I may come and worship him also. When they had heard the king, they departed, and then lo, the star which they saw in the east went before them, till it came and stood over where the young child was. When they saw the star, they rejoiced with exceeding great joy. And when they were come unto the house, they saw the young child with Mary his mother, and fell down and worshipped him. And when they had opened their treasures, they presented unto him gifts, gold, and frankincense, and myrrh. And being warned of God in a dream that they should not return unto Herod, they departed unto their own country another way. And when they departed, behold, an angel of the Lord appeared to Joseph in a dream, saying, Arise, take thy young child and his mother, and flee into Egypt, and be thou there until I bring thee word. For Herod will seek the young child to destroy him. And when he arose, he took his young child and his mother by night, and departed into Egypt, and was there until the death of Herod, that it might be fulfilled which was spoken by the Lord by the prophet, saying, Out of Egypt I called my son. Then Herod, when he saw that he was mocked of the wise men, was exceedingly wroth, and sent forth and slew all the children that were in Bethlehem, and in all the coasts therefore, from 2 years old and under, according to the time which he had diligently inquired of the wise men. Then was fulfilled that which was spoken by Jeremiah the prophet, saying, In Ramah was there a voice I heard, lamenting and weeping, and great mourning, Rachel weeping for her children, and would not be comforted, because they are not. But when Herod was dead, behold, an angel of the Lord appeared in a dream unto Joseph in Egypt, saying, Arise, and take thy young child and his mother, and go into the land of Israel. For they are dead which sought thy child's life. And he arose, and he took the young child and his mother, and came unto the land of Israel. But when he heard that Archelaus did reign in Judea, in the room of his father Herod, he was afraid to go therein. Notwithstanding, being warned of God in a dream, he turned aside unto the parts of Galilee, and came and dwelt in a city called Nazareth, that it might be fulfilled which was spoken by the prophets, He shall be called a Nazarene. So basically what's happening in Matthew 2 is Jesus is born, the wise men see the star, they come over, they're like, hey, we just heard the great news, the King of the Jews is born, this is awesome. Herod's like, hold up, I'm currently in charge, I'm currently the king. If some prophesized King of the Jews is born, that means I'm going to lose all my money, my power, my women, my hoes. So he calls all the chief priests and scribes together, he's like, alright guys, listen, I don't read any of the ancient texts. You guys tell me where this Jesus guy is supposed to be born. And they're like, well, according to the ancient scriptures, he's supposed to be born in Bethlehem. It's blah, blah, blah. And he's like, okay. Secretly, because it's privily, calls in the wise men. He's like, oh, so when did this star appear to you? And did you get any other signs or warnings? I heard it's this Bethlehem place that the Jesus is supposed to be born. So how about you guys go there? And if you actually find him, you send a message back to me, because I totally want to worship him too. I'm not going to kill him or anything. So they go, they find Jesus, they're like, oh, this is awesome. They're exceedingly joyful. They start giving him, like, tons of money. Basically, they're showering him with gifts. They're like, all right, you can have gold and frankincense and myrrh. So Jesus is instantly born into wealth. Now, it's not crazy wealth, but still, it's more than the average carpenter's son would have had back in that time. Then the wise men were given a warning. God's like, yeah, don't let Herod know where you guys are at. And then he sends the angel of the Lord to Joseph and is like, hey, Joseph, yeah, it turns out the king wants to kill you, so you and your family skedaddle on over to Egypt. You're going to stay there until I tell you it's safe. Joseph's like, I bet. Takes his family, bounces over to Egypt. Herod's like, man, I sure haven't heard from those wise men. They're totally playing me for a fool. Kind of super pissed off. I just might, genocide all children under the age of 2 in that entire geographical region. Oopsies. So after mass slaughtering every child under the age of 2, he was still kind of pissed. Lived his life pissed, and died pissed. He was a D1 hater. But after he had died, fulfilling prophecies of people mourning and being sad, Jesus going to Egypt, coming out of Egypt, everything that was happening was also fulfilling all these different prophecies. God sent his angel to Joseph and was like, alright, the scumbag's dead. You and your family can come on back. Joseph's like, alright, bet. So he starts moving his family back when all of a sudden, through the grapevine, just chit-chatting with people, he hears that Archelaus, who is the son of Herod, is in charge. He's like, man, not that Archelaus guy. He's hella cringe. Fine, I'm going to go back, because God told me to, but I'm not going to go back to the exact same town. I'm going to go to this Galilee area over here. I'm going to be in this Nazareth zone, which also fulfilled more prophecies of Jesus being called a Nazarene. So everything that was set up to be stumbling blocks of, mass genociding kept fulfilling prophecy after prophecy. So even before Jesus was able to walk, stuff was getting done that was proving he was him, the guy. That'll be all the reading for today. Thank you guys. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll catch you on the flip side.